Meeting of the Verona Plan Commission for Monday, May 5th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. We'll begin with the roll.
Harrison,
Here.
Wood,
Here.
Powers,
Here.
Diaz,
Here.
Taylor, here. Swanson,
Here.
and Hankard.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum, so we can proceed. Item 3, which we are on, is public comment. You'll note in the agenda there are 3 other public hearings regarding 1167 Laser Street, the outdoor storage at 465 Investment Court, and the outdoor storage at 1079 American Way. If you want to comment on those, I guess I would ask that you wait to the public hearing on those topics, although, public comment is open and you can comment whenever you want. So if you're in a hurry, feel free to comment under public comment. So with that, if any members of the public wish to comment, now would be the time to do so.
Thank you, and good evening, Plan Commissioners. My name is Craig Raditz with Fiduciary Real Estate Development. I just wanted to, we are item number 9. That's on your agenda this evening. So I just wanted to introduce our team. Sam Elliott is directly behind me. Our development coordinator, Paul Schmitter, is to his right. He is our development director. And lastly, Adam Arts from Pinnacle Engineering is with us tonight. Just wanted to get up ahead of time, understanding the process that, again, we're very thankful for the progress at Apex and working with our other team at our company. It's going along tremendously. It's been a great addition. So with regards to the obvious is on this project, we got this under contract approximately 8 months ago. Typically, 1 to 2 months would go by and we'd be in front of a plan commission like this at that early stage in order to kind of proof it out. However, we recognized all the other players that are in the market north of us, Apex also, and some of the stormwater and engineering issues. So literally, we're coming with a concept plan that we wanted to proof out the engineering and the stormwater issues. So Adam Arts in particular will be available for questions on our item, and I think that'll really help deal with that issue when the time comes. So looking forward to tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. We are still in public comment. So if any other members of the public wish to speak, now would be the time to do so. Seeing no one else approaching the microphone, we'll proceed to item 4, which is approval of minutes from the April 7th, 2025 Plan Commission meeting. Any corrections or motions to approve? Commissioner Powers.
I'll move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Powers. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Woods. Last chance for corrections. All those in favor of approving the minutes from the April 7th, 2025 Plan Commission meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the minutes are passed. With that, we'll move on to item 5, which is regarding the conditional use permit for a drive-through located at 1167 Laser Street. Before we do the public hearing, can we get a brief overview, Mr. Sievertson?
Public hearing is being held for a conditional use permit for a drive-through located at 1167 Laser Street. A legal notice was published in the Verona Press. Personal notice was sent to properties within 250 feet, and a sign was posted in front of the subject property.
Thank you. With that, I will move that we open a public hearing on this topic. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Wood, I think. All those in favor of opening the public hearing on this topic, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And we're in the public hearing at 6:34 p.m. So if anyone wants to comment on the drive-through at 1167 Laser Street, now's your chance. We're required to do these. Anyhow, seeing no one approaching the microphone, I will move that we close the public hearing on this topic. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Harrison, I think. All those in favor of closing the public hearing on this topic, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. And the public hearing is closed at 6:35 p.m. Mr. Sievertson.
Thank you. Conditional use permit for drive-through has been requested 1167 Laser Street to permit the construction of a drive-through car wash. Both requests were approved in December of 2023, but because of time limits on approvals, the applicant is seeking reapproval for these requests. The applicant intends on beginning construction this summer. The property is located in Liberty Business Park, the extension of Laser Street, which is currently underway. The property is zoned suburban commercial, which permits car washes and allows drive-throughs as a conditional use. The proposed car wash is 5,000 square feet in area. 2-3 employees will be on site at any given time, and the operating hours will be from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. All these plan submittals, descriptions of the request are the same exact as they were back in 2023. So just to clarify, nothing's changed since then. Here's the rendering of the proposed building. And if you go online and look at other locations, this is pretty typical of their plans. Please note that signage will be reviewed separately by staff, so that's not part of this approval. Because the plans were previously approved and because applicable zoning regulations have not changed since the previous approval, staff have no concerns. And so open it up.
Thank you for that explanation. We'll start with 5A, which is discussion and possible action regarding the conditional use permit for the drive-through located at 1167 Laser Street. Questions, comments, or motions on this item? Nope. Commissioner Henker.
Maybe it's a question for you. Remind me again that the land to the east, the vacant land, that is also kind of a part of a long-term development process, and I would assume it would be commercial along M there as well.
Mr. Severson?
Yes. So directly to the east of here is land that's currently within the city boundaries. It's currently zoned for suburban industrial, so it's the same zoning district as the surrounding properties. But it's not technically part of this Liberty Business Park. But yes, it is part of the city, and we do anticipate it to be developed in the future, at which point Laser Street would likely extend further along there.
Okay.
And then your other question about M, yeah, we would anticipate further development along M. However, probably no additional access points along it.
Perfect, thanks.
Other questions, comments, or motions? Commissioner Wood?
So is this really just resetting the clock?
More or less.
Okay.
Certainly, if you feel things have changed, you can ask questions or provide comments, but it's essentially the same.
The content is all the
plans.
same as what was
Yeah,
previously approved?
content is all the same.
Okay.
And, the reason the ordinance has time limits of, when you need to start construction and actually be completed with construction. So that's really the reasoning why this is back.
Okay. Then I will make a motion to recommend the Common Council approve the conditional use permit to allow a drive-through land use on Lot 28 in Liberty Business Park with the following condition. The conditional use permit shall become effective upon the applicant acquiring the property. Do we want to do this one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion by Commissioner Wood. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Powers. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on the motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of recommending to the Common Council to approve the conditional use permit for a drive-through located at 1167 Laser Street with the conditions specified signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. With that, we'll move on to 5B, which is a discussion and possible action regarding the site plan for a car wash located at 1167 Laser Street. Questions, comments, or motions on the site plan? Commissioner Powers.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the site plan to allow for construction of a 5,000 square foot car wash located on the Lot 28 in the Liberty Business Park with the following conditions. A, that the site plan,
Sorry, there are no necessary conditions.
No
for
conditions
this.
on this
That
one?
was- That was for that, I think that was for
with
the previous
no
one.
necessary conditions on this one. We're going all in.
Motion by Commissioner Powers. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Harrison. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on the site plan motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the site plan for a 5,000 square foot car wash located at 1167 Laser Street signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. With that, move on to item 6, which is a condition regarding a conditional use permit for permanent outdoor storage located at 465 Investment Court. Before we do the mandatory public hearing, can we get a brief overview, Mr. Severson?
Yes, public hearing is being held for a conditional use permit for permanent outdoor storage located at 465 Investment Court. Legal notice was published in the Verona Press. Personal notice was sent to properties within 250 feet, and a sign was posted in front of the subject property.
Thank you. With that, I will move that we open the public hearing on this topic. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Wood. All those in favor of opening the public hearing on this topic, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And we're in the public hearing at 6:41 PM. If anyone wishes to comment regarding the permanent outdoor storage located at 465 Investment Court, now would be the time to do so. Seeing nobody approaching the microphone, I will move that we close the public hearing on this topic. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Powers. All those in favor of closing the public hearing on this topic, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the public hearing is closed at 6:42 PM. Mr. Severson.
Thank you. Conditional use permit for, I'm sorry, wrong page. The property is located at the west terminus of Investment Court in the Urban Industrial Zoning District. Surrounding uses include other light industrial users as well as the Public Works Yard. The applicant is proposing to purchase the property to use as a workshop for their contracting business. They're proposing 2 phases for the property, but approval for only the first phase is being requested this evening. The first phase proposes using the rear of the building, which faces Highway 1851, for outdoor storage of construction materials. It also includes storing construction vehicles and trailers in the front parking lot. 8 parking spaces in the front are proposed to remain. However, only 3 are necessarily required by code. The proposed storage will be screened by the building in the front, and then there's some existing screening on the site as well. Sorry, my cursor is all messed up. Oh, sorry. There we go. No additional screening is required for the first phase. You'll see in the kind of yellow highlighted area, that's phase 2. And if the applicant acquires the property and gets approval for this first phase, their intent would be to prepare engineering drawings and get more kind of developed, kind of make that investment to develop some more fine-tuned plans. There's kind of questionable, because the property is so close to a floodplain, we need to be careful about adding impervious surface on that side of the building. Also, there's a question as to like where the property line is in relation to the existing building. So there's some things that kind of need to be worked out, but at least for this first phase, they just want to know that they can occupy the building, they can have some storage, and then look for that future expansion in the future. So staff have no concerns for this first phase and recommend approval of conditional use permit for the proposed permanent storage.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions, comments, or motions regarding the conditional use permit? Commissioner Hankard.
I'll make a motion that the Plan Commission recommend the Common Council approve the conditional use permit for permanent outdoor storage located at 465 Investment Court.
Motion by Commissioner Hankard. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Harrison. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of recommending to the Common Council to approve the conditional use permit for permanent outdoor storage located at 465 Investment Court, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion is approved. We'll move on to item 7, which is regarding the conditional use permit for a permanent outdoor storage located at 1079 American Way and east of 1079 American Way. Before we go into the public hearing, can we get a brief overview, Mr. Sievertson?
Yes, public hearing is held for a conditional use permit for permanent outdoor storage located at 1079 American Way. Legal notice was published in the Verona Press. Personal notice was sent to properties within 250 feet, and a sign was posted in front of the subject property.
Thank you. With that, I will move that we open the public hearing on this topic. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Wood. All those in favor of opening the public hearing on this topic, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And we're in the public hearing at 6:47 p.m. If anyone wants to comment on 1079 American Way regarding the conditional use permit, now would be the time to do so.
Good evening, Plan Commissioners. My name is Kevin Zerman. I'm the president of Wisconsin Brewing Company. I read through what was included in the agenda, and Lucas, nice to finally meet you in person. Cheers. So in the recommendations that were put forth, and I apologize if I'm breaching etiquette here, just redirect me. I saw that points 1 and 3 in the recommendation were to approve, and point 2 was recommend the Common Council deny conditional use permit for 2 containers in a canopy. I just want to contextualize that request a little further. We have 2 40-foot Connex trailers, essentially semi-type trailers that have a canopy welded that peaks at about 19 feet high between those containers. And we have a 4-building plan on our site. We're building the second one right now, which is what we've been talking about so much recently, and that's a warehouse about just under 15,000 feet. Building 3, which connects along the north face of Building 2, is 45 to 50,000 square feet, and we haven't started that work yet. We expect that to be about 2 to 3 years out, depending on our growth plans and if we're hitting them. So there are a couple points. One with the storage that was recommended to be denied. We own that storage. It's not something we rent. All other containers that we have will go away when we build our warehouse. Why conversations weren't put in play earlier that we'd like to retain the canopy and the 2 Connex trailers, I'm not quite sure, but I need to address it now. We have, the warehouse that we're building is going to fill up very quickly, and we know that. And between having the warehouse up, which is going to feel really big for the first couple of months and not so big as we get further into it, we're going to need to be able to place things somewhere else. The kind of things I'm talking about are the outdoor furniture for our tap room. We have quite a bit of that. So we'd like to be able to put those in the Connex containers that we'd like to retain. And something that I just learned recently, literally today, that I'd need to fact check, there was the rotating dunnage that we want to put on the south side of the building. There's a recommendation to approve that, and I appreciate that. Part of that is wood pallets. Today I learned that wood pallets, I asked the question if we had to try to store those in the new warehouse, could we do that? Would we have room? And I was told that we can't store those in the new warehouse over 7 feet in height because the burn rate of wooden pallets would exceed the sprinkler system's capability. So we want to put those outside. But if the pallets get rained on when they get picked up, because it is rotating dunnage, we get charged a fee to pay for that as damage. And they're wet. They're not really damaged, but we get charged for damage. So that canopy that peaks at 19 feet high and is 40 feet deep is a perfect place during times of inclement weather or even in seasons with inclement weather, for us to put the wooden pallets that we hope to also be able to store along the south side of the building. So that's why I just want to make the pitch for, we'd really like to retain those 2 containers in the canopy. The rest will absolutely be out of there. We're excited to get it out of there and clean up our space, both for our employees, for the community, and for people that come to our tap room. And one other thing that wasn't really spoken to in here, but I just want to tee it up, and I can take it offline however needed. We have a landscape plan that has quite a bit of landscaping put in around the new warehouse. The majority of that is on that north wall where Building 3 will connect. So whatever we plant now, 2 to 3 years out, we're going to be pulling all those trees and bushes out because the building connects to it, so it can't be there. So I don't know if there's something else we could do or other conversations we could have. It would just be kind of throwaway landscaping. And I personally don't know if we put all of the landscaping in 2 to 3 years' time, if we move that, will it survive or won't it? I mean, if it doesn't, we would just put new landscaping in. And, that's not something I'm going to fight too hard for, but I just wanted to tee up that we don't really want to have to buy that twice if we can avoid it. But I do acknowledge there's a 2 to 3 year gap before we get the next building up. So that's all I wanted to share.
Thank you.
Should I sit down now? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, if we have, oh, yeah, you could sign in. We are still in the public hearing on this topic, so if anyone else wishes to comment on the conditional use permit for the outdoor storage located at 1079 American Way, now would be the time to do so. Seeing no one else approaching the microphone, I will move that we close the public hearing on this topic. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Hankard. All those in favor of closing the public hearing on this topic, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The public hearing on this topic is closed at 6:52 p.m. Mr. Severson.
Thank you. Conditional use permit and site plan amendment have been requested to allow for permanent outdoor storage to be located on the property and for an amended landscape plan and dumpster enclosure. The property is located near the intersection of American Way and Thousand Oaks Trail in the suburban industrial zoning district. I'm sure all of you are very familiar with this site now. The site plan and CSM for a new storage and warehouse building was approved in December of 2024. A CSM was approved in April to accommodate the required setback and stormwater management that have been reviewed. The applicant is now seeking approval for permanent outdoor storage in 2 separate locations. One just south of the proposed building, which is actually under construction, for the storage of dunnage, as the applicant had just mentioned, and a second on the north side of the building in a currently unimproved lot. Staff supports the storage on the south side of the building with conditions, as it will be able to sufficiently be screened for views of the south. The proposed storage north of the building is substantial in size and will not be able to be sufficiently screened, which is a standard of review. Code requires permanent outdoor storage to be screened by fencing and landscaping. Code requires outdoor storage to be placed on paved surfaces. The proposed lot where the containers are being located is currently vacant. Typically, outdoor storage would be allowed as part of an accessory use, but not a principal use on the lot. And I know it's a technicality because it's all next to each other, but it is technically a separate lot. And typically, we wouldn't approve an accessory use on a vacant lot. And I guess just to further clarify things, this wasn't all received by the city in one application. Initially, we'd got the site plan for the new building, as well as the CSM. And then when that was approved, we realized, as the construction of the building was getting underway, we realized by looking at the civil drawings that the building was actually placed too close to the property line. And that's why the CSM revision was required. Then, as part of that review, we were talking about stormwater management, and hey, it would really help your stormwater management if you could reduce the amount of impervious surface. And then we were told, no, we need that impervious surface for outdoor storage. So that was another change. And then when we got that application, most recently, I think a week or two ago, it was realized that the Connect containers were also being proposed, not just the dunnage. So I as staff, I don't like to bring applications before the Plan Commission that are kind of so disjointed, but just want to give you kind of a explanation of why it's coming to you like this. Some of the other concerns that staff have regarding the additional storage on the north side of the building is that the applicant previously agreed to remove the storage once the expansion of the warehouse building was completed. In addition, when the applicant was previously granted approval for 5 storage containers, they routinely put out 15 plus containers. So if anyone has been out to the site over the past 4 years, I'm sure you've seen the number of containers out there. So what was approved to be out there were 5 containers. So I'm sure you've seen many more than that. So unfortunately, it just hasn't been something that the applicant has lived up to on their end. Getting into some more of the details. Sorry. This is just showing the Connex containers that are being proposed on the north side of the building. As the applicant said, these are currently on the site and were previously approved to be there in a temporary nature until the warehouse building was constructed. So the main concerns with this is just no screenings provided, which is required by code, and it's on an adjacent vacant lot. Now for the easy things. So the landscape revisions that were proposed, staff is supportive of those. They're adding additional landscaping to the south of the building. That's intended to provide screening for that dunnage that the applicant was talking about, which is essentially pallets that are stacked. And so the screening provided for those, they're providing an 8-foot tall fence around the back of the site, and then they're also providing trees in the rear. The only concern that staff had was the actual species being proposed. It's more of a large shrub than a tree. So it's going to provide good screening at a low height, but we really want to provide screening above, so provide screening in addition to the fence. And so we would suggest that they replace the proposed species with like a canopy tree that would get up above that level, which I think should be an easy fix.
So I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the current species? What would be a good recommended species?
There are the current species. I would have to look at the landscape plan. Really, any native canopy tree. There's more than 20 species that they could pick from. On their current list, they have red maple, hackberry, and swamp white oak. So those species are both canopy trees, and they're native to Wisconsin. So those can be used, but I would give the landscape designer discretion to propose something else in addition. But what's currently proposed is the common name is musclewood. So it's like a multi-branched tree, so it doesn't get very, very high.
Thank you.
And then just in summary, staff is recommending approval of the conditional use permit for storage on the south side of the building. Staff recommends denying the CUB for storage containers on the north side of the building, which is located on a separate lot. If the Plan Commission does wish to recommend approval, the fire department does recommend conditions be placed on that approval, and I can show you where those conditions are in the report. It's essentially the same conditions that were placed on it previously. And staff also recommends approval of the site plan amendment for revisions to the site plan and landscape plan with the condition that the 5 trees along the south property line be replaced with native canopy trees.
Thank you for that explanation. So the way we're going to handle it is, if you look at page 8 of 25 in the staff report on this, we'll handle the recommended conditional use permit first, the recommended denial conditional use permit second, and then the site plan approval third. So this would be, we're going to be starting off with the conditional use permit for a permanent outdoor storage located at 1079 American Way for the rotating dunnage south of the building. So questions, comments, or motions on the rotating dunnage south of the building?
Could I make a motion?
Absolutely.
That we, the Plan Commission, recommend the Common Council approve the conditional use permit for permanent outdoor storage located at 1079 American Way for the rotating dunnage south of the building. And does that have to come with the landscaping changes that you suggested or not?
Mr. Severson?
It would be great if it's in both motions. I would be comfortable if it's just in the site plan motion, but
Well, we'll leave it for that then.
okay, thanks.
Motion by Commissioner Henkert. Is there a second? Seconded by Alder Swanson. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on the motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of recommending to the Common Council to approve the conditional use permit for a permanent outdoor storage located at 1079 American Way for the rotating dunnage south of the building, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. We'll move on to the next part of it, which is the recommendation from staff to deny a conditional use permit for the 2 containers with the canopy located east of 1079 American Way. Questions, comments, or motions on this item? Commissioner Wood and then myself.
I guess my first question is, can we pull number 2 so staff and the applicant can work together and readdress at the next meeting? Because it sounds like you guys didn't have a lot of time to.
Mr. Severson?
I'm fine with that. I might suggest we ask the applicant if they're okay with that.
Question to the applicant?
Would that, if we were to pull number 2 so you can work with city staff on the denial and see if you guys can come to some sort of agreement and readdress that like next month or whenever?
Okay. All right. Would you want to make a motion to refer that to the next Plan Commission meeting?
Would that work for city staff? Mm-hmm. Okay. Then yeah, I will make a motion that we pull number 2 and review at the next meeting. How do I need to phrase that?
I would say refer to the next Plan Commission meeting,
Okay.
because then it's guaranteed to be on the next
Okay.
meeting, and we have a timeline and everyone knows.
Okay, then I will make a motion that we pull at number 2, the denial, and refer it to the next meeting, plan meeting.
Motion by Commissioner Wood. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Harrison. All those in favor of referring this item to the next Plan Commission meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. We will speak about this at the next Plan Commission meeting. With that, we will move on to item 3 in the packet, which was the regarding the site plan amendment. Questions, comments, or motions on the site plan approval? No. Alder Swanson.
I'm just gonna move it. Move to recommend approval of the site plan amendment for revisions to the landscaping and dumpster enclosure with the condition that the 5 trees along the south property line be replaced with native canopy trees.
When you said recommend approval, you meant just approval? Because this doesn't go to the city council.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure. Motion to approve the site plan by Alder Swanson. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Wood. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on the site plan? Commissioner Wood.
So my thought process on this with doing the changing into the native is that while I believe you guys will expand in 3 to 5 years, I don't want to, I don't want to, I guess, say that you don't have to do it and then have you guys not expand. So that's kind of my thought process with it.
Other questions or comments on the motion?
I'll just
Mr. Severson?
I'll just add that the landscape plan revision was just for the landscaping on the south side. The applicant did bring up the idea of not installing the landscaping on the north side, but that wasn't in the packet, so that's not technically part of the request.
Gotcha. So just to expand on it, if the applicant did want to change the site plan that had already been approved, they'd have to come back and ask for an amendment to it, and then we would talk about it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Make sure we're all clear. Questions or comments on the motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the site plan amendment as motioned by Alder Swanson signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. With that, we will move on to item 8, which is a discussion and possible action regarding the condominium plat review to create 5 units located at 110 Enterprise Drive. Mr. Severson.
Thank you. The applicant is requesting a condominium plat to modify the number of units from 9 to 5 located at 110 Enterprise Drive. The subject property is located within the suburban office zoning district and is currently approved with a 2-story office building. The applicant is seeking to combine 3 units on the first floor and 3 units on the second floor into one unit. Staff have no concerns and recommend approval of the condo plat.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this item or motions? Commissioner Wood.
I will make a motion that staff recommend the plan commission, nope. I'll make a motion that the plan, this is worded weird. I'll make a recommendation that the plan commission recommend the common council approve the condominium plat to create a total of 5 units at 110 Enterprise Drive.
Motion by Commissioner Wood. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Harrison. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of recommending to the Common Council to approve the condominium plat to create 5 units located at 110 Enterprise Drive, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. And that motion passes. With that, we'll move on to item 9, which is a discussion and possible action regarding the initial review for 240 apartment units and 20 townhomes located west of County Highway M and east of Blue Ice Pass on the Bacchus property. Mr. Severson.
Thank you. So the applicant is requesting an initial review, as the mayor said, 240 multifamily units, which would be apartments, and 20 townhomes. The property is located south of the Whispering Coves subdivision and is currently located in the town of Verona. In addition to annexation, the project would require comprehensive plan amendment, land division, zoning map amendment, conditional use permit for the apartment complex, and a site plan approval. The current comprehensive plan calls for residential in this area, albeit a lower density. So because of the higher density residential is why a comp plan amendment would be required. As I said, 240 apartment units and 20 townhome units are proposed. This is showing a site plan, concept site plan of the development. The site plan is constrained by a couple different things, including the necessity to extend Blue Ice Pass from Kettle Creek North through to County Highway M to align with Ennigan Drive. So that's that road you see there, Blue Ice Path. That's kind of a given. That's the location it has to be. In addition, you'll see a road going to the north, and that would be the future connection with Grassland Terrace. So Grassland Terrace is part of the Whispering Coves subdivision. Has not yet been constructed, but we're hoping it will be constructed soon. In addition, there are existing wetlands on the east side of the site. Can't really see it in this rendering, but it's kind of in that grayed out portion on the site plan. In addition, there's steep grades on the south end of the site as you get to the single family homes. So really the only suitable, and the other thing is the only suitable soils for stormwater management are located on the northwest corner of the site. So giving all of those constraints of the site, this is what the applicant is showing us. So the proposed townhomes will front on Blue Ice Path with parking accessed on the north side of the units. And then just to the north of that, just for reference, is our areas zone commercial, as well as the Kettle, which is kind of the wetland area. The multifamily apartments are accessed at 4 different locations along Blue Ice Path and have angled parking in front of the building. Staff is encouraging the building to be brought closer to the street, and these are some continuing discussions that staff and the applicant are having. But we just wanted to kind of get something in front of the Plan Commission for you to react to. The first floor of the apartment buildings are proposed to be covered parking due to the change in elevation on the site. Staff is encouraging additional facade articulation and landscaping along that to help improve the street presence. So this cross section kind of shows why the parking is being proposed underneath the building as opposed to underground. And that's due to the significant change in elevation. This also shows the relationship of the proposed development to the single-family homes up on top of the hill. So you can see just how significant that grade change is. This is the perspective drawing showing what the buildings would look like from Blue Ice Path. So this is kind of a view from Blue Ice Path looking kind of southwest. As you can see, you can kind of like see that garage entrance, which essentially is acting as the first floor, and then the second floor would actually be the first floor of the residential units. The applicant has also provided several different design styles and seeks the Plan Commission's preference, although the previous rendering is kind of their preference that they've shown. So staff is seeking input from the Plan Commission on 2 separate topics. Will apartments and townhomes be supported? Because that's kind of getting to the need for us to update for a comprehensive plan amendment, as well as the zoning. So the zoning will need to be changed. And then 2, will the parking underneath the building be supported instead of underground parking. So,
Thank you. So I guess I would encourage the Plan Commission to provide feedback to both staff and the applicant. I'll call on myself first. In regard to question one, will apartments and townhomes be supported for this property? I would say yes. I think this is going to be a pretty tricky property to develop, and I mean, at some point you need the density to pay for the infrastructure, and I think they're all going to fill up. I think there's a lot of demand. And then as in regards to number two, yeah, I'd be totally fine with underbuilding parking instead of underground parking. I mean, in my mind, they're pretty similar, and it's kind of limiting the impervious surfaces. I had a couple questions for staff. The property, I believe that's in the town that's just east of it, would that remain in the town? Is that the plan, I assume?
that's something that we're still,
Oh, okay.
working on. Yep.
Got it. Okay.
So
I will- yeah.
the applicant might have an answer to that now, but I don't think we've determined that for sure.
Okay. It's not really that important. I was just mainly curious. Is the stormwater for this site tied into the stormwater for Whispering Coves being completed?
I'll let Ms. Fisher answer that question.
Ms. Fisher.
So kind of, it's all part of the same kind of closed basin area. And so it is not part of the regional plan, but they're going to have to manage their stormwater to kind of a similar level of management, which is above and beyond a typical
Okay.
development, which would typically be managed through the 200-year event. These closed basins are managed through the back-to-back 100-year event, so it's just a higher standard. So they'll need to basically kind of control the volume from their site versus just the runoff rate, if that means anything to you.
It does.
Okay.
I guess so then, even if, I know of course Whispering Coves is going to get their infrastructure done this year, but if it wasn't, could this project proceed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then I guess my two other general comments are, I think screening with trees or berms or whatever to the south, I think is going to be really good. One, because I like seeing more trees planted, and two, I think it'll help with the neighbors. And then I'm not sure if this should be directed towards the applicant or city staff, but I think the path that was shown on the map earlier, I would like to see a connection perhaps through the stormwater management thing and down into Blue Ice Path, maybe with a highlighted crosswalk, just because I think that trail is going to be really good for the whole neighborhood, and we should tie as many other neighborhoods into it as possible so everyone can enjoy it. Oh, and this is not going to have any impact on whether I support it or not, but I like design 4 on the previous slide. I wouldn't normally provide feedback like that, but you guys asked, so that's all I had. Other feedback, Commissioner Powers, and then Wood. Okay.
I agree that I would support the apartments and townhomes on the property. It seemed like a creative use of the space and a tricky place to develop. I look at the Azura property, is that how you say it? Also a tricky place to develop the property, and it turned out pretty well, I think, from the design standpoint. In terms of the parking underground versus on the first level, the design that you showed, in my favorite, being your preferred design, is also my favorite. It blends in really well. To me, it doesn't make much of a difference whether it's underground or above ground, as long as it is concealed and looks nice the way you've designed it in the previous design. Although, if I have to pick a second, I would side with the mayor. I like number 4. So those are my top 2. I'll give it a top 2. And then the other question I had was on the visual of the town or the residents that are nearby where the eye line goes out. Is that from the south, or is it from because there's another picture that shows a house just to the east of it. I imagine that's much closer than so that picture, yeah, is that from the houses in the neighborhood to the south or just to the east?
To the
To the south, okay. Because there's that one that's pretty close on page 5 that's carved out. I imagine that's only a few. That's got to be similar grade, right? This one here,
Oh, right. I see what you're saying.
that house?
Yes.
That's
No,
that's a completely
it
different
would be-
situation, right?
Right.
Okay.
This in this cross section
Would be down below.
the single family residential house shown is part of I'm blanking on the name of the
The,
subdivision.
the neighborhood across from Monk's there, or whatever. Or
Yeah,
about right.
it's not the two homes that are
right
off
next to.
of,
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. That's it.
Commissioner Wood.
I'm supportive of having the housing here. I don't have much of an issue with the, I guess I'll call it first floor parking. I guess the only comment I would make, and I see it in the rendering you have, I would just encourage like taller prairie grasses or something that will hide some of that brick. So there's not so much brick on the first floor. I will say the beige is so beige. So I'm going to agree number 4 is definitely my preferred. I like a little more visual interest, especially with being it looks kind of on a corner. But yeah, otherwise I'm supportive of this. I know it's a tricky lot, and thanks for being up to the challenge on it.
Other feedback from the Plan Commission. Commissioner Hankard, and then Commissioner Harris.
I guess, I like it for the most part. I support the housing, everything everybody said. I guess the only issue I have is the people to the south and I guess to the east, the two home, the existing residences. And I mean, right now, the way, can you bring up the site plan again?
Yep.
I mean, I get it. This site is very constrained. I heard all the constraints. But like the townhomes are the more kind of akin to a single family. If there were no other constraints on the site, I would say put the townhomes near the residences so that they're not staring at a 3 or 4 story building. Maybe there's some houses down there in the trees and they can't even barely see them versus a large building. But I'm sure the developer has like 100 reasons why that's a problem. But again, all else being equal, that's what I would suggest. And here's a crazy idea. If you were to try to put the multifamily, the higher density stuff up where the townhomes are, maybe that's too much of a postage stamp lot there. Could you build across that little north-south street such that you would literally just bridge the street? Is that possible within?
Mr. Severson?
So we did have that suggestion for the applicant, and there were various reasons why it didn't work, but one of the big ones was because of Blue Ice Path coming through it. It really needs to connect to County Highway M. And so it wouldn't really provide enough depth. And I also understand that I think there's concerns with like the water table in that area as well. As it's so low. I know the applicant can speak to that a little bit more if you wanted them to, but I know that was discussed.
I will ask the applicant a question in just a second, but let me ask, has there been any public outreach on the part of this project or the city with these landowners? Do they know this is coming, or are they?
That's a good question. And sorry I didn't mention it in my presentation, but we are recommending the applicant after this meeting and after this kind of goes to the council for an initial review for them to set up a neighborhood meeting with some of those folks to the south.
Right. I mean, and if I'm not trying to create a problem, but if they come unglued, I could get it. Some people might not like that transition from single family to that much density. So if there's any way to soften that aspect of this project, I would be in favor of it.
Commissioner Harrison, and then Alder Swanson.
I do support apartments and townhomes, and then I also like 4 the most. I think that I would like to see more properties that are a little bit more, kind of like how Commissioner Wood said, artistic, like something to draw the eye to, instead of having it be something that disappears. And I also agree with the mayor that I would love to see that path connect into this neighborhood. And I also support underbuilding parking.
Alder Swanson.
Yeah, so I'll address the questions first. Yeah, totally on board with the combination of the townhome and the multifamily apartment units. I mean, it's just smart use of our space, and it's what we're going to fit in need of. I think that what you have there seems to make sense as far as the setup. Underbuilding parking seems fine with me. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often, frankly. It seems probably more convenient for everyone involved, but I'm tentatively on board with that, as long as staff doesn't give us a reason why it's actually crazy. The thing I was wondering, and so, I am very new to this, and I am not a property developer at all, so I don't know any about how feasible it is, but, so I do tend to prefer the flat top designs. With the grade, putting them so much lower than the houses behind to the east, how much work is, and I guess I'm directing a question to them, how much work would be involved in setting up the building in such a way that the ones on the edge or like closer to the other housing would be able to sustain things like rooftop gardens on top? Like I'm assuming that actually putting that in place wouldn't be your job, right? You're not in charge of managing it. Once you've actually put it up, it wouldn't be for you to keep and maintain. But as far as like a long-term setup, that sort of adds the more artistic vision on the top, while also helping prevent it from being like, oh, I'm looking out and then there's just roofs. So I guess I'm curious about how feasible or difficult that is.
If one of the applicants want to address that?
Sure.
And if you could introduce yourself too, just for our notes.
Hi, as Craig Raditz introduced earlier, my name is Paul Schmitter with Fiduciary. The rooftop gardens is something that a lot of people really try to do. They're difficult for a couple reasons. First is what's called dead load. When you structurally design a building, especially 3 stories with a flat roof, all of that extra dirt and soil and the way it holds water, it doesn't, drain out like it would down a regular drain. So you've got, more considerable elements to designing the building and therefore more costs. Second is, like you had mentioned, maintaining it, although we're typically long-term holders of our property and we do manage a lot of it, that if you have a garden that the residents use, then it's additional staff to keep track of that. Things like that. So it's something that I've always wanted to do, but when we get down to the end of things and we crunch the numbers between the building alterations and additional staffing, management costs, things like that, it kind of breaks the bank.
Thank you for asking my question.
Commissioner Wood, then Commissioner Harrison.
2 other things that I wanted to mention. That's kind of where I was going as well. Not necessarily a garden, but like a green roof, but can definitely understand the constraints with that. The other thing is, highly recommend considering either EV charging or, like the city has mentioned, running the conduit for it. EVs, I think, are just going to be the future.
Yeah, that's something that we're doing in all our new stuff.
Okay.
It's our the tenants want it, and it becomes very convenient for them, and kind of a no-brainer as far as we're concerned.
Thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner Harrison.
The artistic rooftop gardens kind of made me think about what the Mill District has going on, like that kind of communal rooftop thing. Would that be more sustainable than the rooftop garden? Or does that pose also complications with it being higher elevation?
Yeah, it's higher elevation, and then as a community space, it gets very difficult to police because you either have a rubber roof membrane or a vinyl roof membrane, and now you've got dirt and rocks and people's shoes and stuff like that. track a lot of stuff in, and then you've got a roof leak, and then you've got several, and you've got a lot of angry tenants shortly thereafter. So it does come up, but then it eventually gets shut down on us. So
Yeah, thank you for that. That's is there a way to make that rooftop more useful or at least aesthetically pleasing?
we'll certainly can look into that. I know the most common colors for roofs are black and white, but I can't believe we're the first ones that have ever asked that question. So we certainly would look into an alternative roofing color for the membrane that might soften that up.
Fabulous. Thank you.
I guess I'll call it myself. Solar panels are always stylish, in my opinion. So, other feedback from the Planning Commission. Commissioner Taylor.
Just want to say that I do support apartments and townhomes for this property to address these questions. And number two, underbuilding parking, that's the same thing as underground parking to me, honestly. No preference there. I did have one question or comment about the section for the parking just north of those multifamily units. So staff recommends compromise in subsequent applications that surface parking is removed. So those buildings are right up next to the road there. Part of the reason it caught my eye says that's similar to the apartment units in Lincoln Street Apartments. That's literally my unit. It's nice, yeah. It really is nice right next to the road there. You just park right on the street, walk right in. It's like you own a home, almost. The question I had, though, was staff recommends a compromise to eliminate that or remove. So is that, we're talking fully removing it, not relocating? And I know you said that on-street parking may be an option, but it would not count towards the total parking space. I didn't do the math, add up everything in there. If you eliminate that parking, do they still meet the parking requirement?
Mr. Severson?
They would, yeah. If you removed all the angled parking, which is adjacent to Blue Ice Path, it would still meet their parking requirements by quite a bit. I'm guessing that the developer has probably, most residential developers want to build more parking than the city requires. But they would not be required to put in that angled parking. So yes, you could theoretically remove all of the angled parking along Blue Ice Pass, and then it would still meet their parking requirements. Parallel parking would still be allowed in that area. The idea, though, I guess a couple reasons for wanting to remove that parking. One, it's not required to meet the code. They have enough parking on site. Two, if you got rid of that parking, you could potentially reduce the amount of curb cuts. You could also increase the landscaping and bring the building a little bit closer to the street. So those are the main reasons why staff was recommending that.
Thank you for all that background. Yeah, I think when I first read it, I was just assuming that maybe the implication was they'd be moving that parking somewhere else. But with everything you said, I'd definitely be in favor of just eliminating it entirely, having landscaping, trees, bringing the buildings closer. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Commissioner Powers.
Just one more thought. If you do move those buildings then to the north, you'll less overlap with the house to the east of that. My only other question too, or thought was, maybe this is coming in a future section, but some sort of outside space, like plan for, I know probably not a full park, obviously, but playground or some sort of structure for families, since these are all multifamily, and I know some of them will have children. There's a park, there will be a park to the north, Zing Park, right? Is that what it's gonna be called? Depends on when that finishes.
That I don't know yet.
That all depends on when that finishes, but I guess it would be the west and the north would have the parks, right? In the full development.
right. There would be a couple parks as part of Whispering Coves, yeah.
But still a bit of a walk. Yeah.
But yeah, to that point, they will put in like an amenity space and like a small, I don't know if I call it a park necessarily, but yeah, definitely like gathering space
Gotcha.
with some amenities. So yeah, there are the site plans for this project are changing rapidly, but this at least gives you the general concept.
Thank you.
I'll call myself real quick. I just want to say I agree with what Commissioner Taylor said regarding the parking and staff's recommendation. And if we could eliminate that and add more landscaping or common area, I think that would be great for the people who live there. Any other feedback from the Plan Commission? Mr. Severson, did we address all the questions that staff had adequately?
Yeah, I think so. One thing I just wanted to bring up with the change in the elevation of the site and the fact that they're proposing covered parking as opposed to underground parking. With that, we have not only we have height limits, and because the parking's going to be below the building, that will increase the height of the building, and so likely they'll need to seek a conditional use permit to allow the height of the building to be taller than what the underlying zoning requires. So,
Okay.
but that'll be kind of part of that zoning process. But no, all the other comments were helpful, and I think this gives staff and the applicant good direction.
Great. Unless anyone else has anything to add? All right. We'll move on to the next topic, which is item 10, discussion and possible action regarding an initial review for 43 townhomes located at the southeastern corner of Morningside Boulevard and Harvest Moon Trail. Mr. Severson.
Thank you. So yeah, like the mayor said, the applicant is requesting an initial review to construct townhomes at 401 Morningside Boulevard. The site, you might be able to make it out here. It's kind of that yellow highlighted area right below the Morningside letters. So this obviously part of Whispering Cove subdivision, and this project, like the one we just reviewed, would require a comprehensive plan amendment. It would also require a land division, most likely in the form of a CSM, zoning map amendment, and site plan. The current comprehensive plan calls for lower density residential in this area, which is why a comprehensive plan amendment would be required. Currently in our zoning ordinance, this is, or in the zoning map, this is identified as essentially open space. The 43 townhomes are proposed in 8 buildings. The units front on either the public street, interior open space, or stormwater pond to the east. Staff has encouraged the applicant to consider better circulation around the site for pedestrians, as well as emergency vehicles and cyclists. We're still kind of in that process of site plan review. This is, there you go. This is a rendering showing an example of the 6-unit townhome building. Some of the buildings are 4 units, 5 units, 6 units, but this is kind of a good representation of what the design of the buildings will be. So we just asked the Plan Commission to provide some general feedback on the plan, especially if you agree with the use, converting this from a lower density residential to kind of a more, I wouldn't call it high density, but a higher density of residential.
All right. Commissioner Wood, Commissioner Harrison, and then myself.
I like the overall design of the buildings. Would love to see something other than like a millennial gray. Maybe a different color for each of the different buildings, or that complement each other, whatever. Would just love to see something again more, I don't know, brighter. I would also, I would love to see Building 7 shifted to the south, that like the city had brought up, if possible, in the open space. Because it's townhomes, I assume that there are going to be children. If there was, I don't know how close this is to a park. I couldn't really tell, but is it? Okay. I was going to say maybe some sort of a. Oh. Okay. That was going to be my only thing, was kind of adding like some sort of a playground or something. But otherwise, I like seeing the townhomes. I think it's a good missing middle for Verona. And I like that the townhomes are not just solid straight across on the front. I like that they're kind of stair steps, so there's also some visual depth. But otherwise, I guess I don't have many concerns. I'm not concerned about changing it from the low density to the higher low density. So I don't really have much concern with that.
Commissioner Harrison, then myself.
I agree. I think pushing to higher density is fine. We need housing so badly, and it fills up so quickly. I do like the protected open space. I don't know how to make it so that it would be more accessible for I don't know, like the other townhomes. I'm unsure of, like, there's a part of me that wants that to be like a communal kind of possibly backyard kind of shared area. And I really like the idea of like bright colors, or like at least like different colors, because we have so much of the same housing. It would be really fun to have a brighter, happier kind of thing coming in. And I think it would add character to Verona that I think we would benefit from. Yeah, I love the idea of townhomes as well. I think we definitely are lacking in that department.
Calling on myself and then Commissioner Powers. Yeah, I'm open to this land use. I like townhomes. I think they're a good kind of gentle density. It's certainly more dense than single-family homes, but I think most people driving by or living adjacent wouldn't even regard it as that dense. I would like to see a north-south connection to the trail that's southeast of the property, and just see if we can bring that up to Morningside Boulevard, or potentially even connect it into the property. Same comment as before. I like that path. I think it's really great, and the more neighborhoods and the more people we can connect to it, the better it'll be for everyone. In regard to the comments by Commissioner Harrison about the open space, yeah, I like the open space a lot, and if it's likely as stated that there's going to be a bunch of kids here, I think we maybe want to make some, I don't know, as safe as we can make the parking lot, or somehow connect the buildings to the open space in some way, whether that's like a heavy duty crossing area, heavy traffic calming, or kind of redoing the buildings. And I know it looks easy on the map, and I know it's not actually easy to move buildings around in real life, but again, the more people who can enjoy that open space, the better. But in general, I'm supportive of this land use. I got Commissioner Powers, then Alder Swanson.
I would echo everyone's comments that I support the increased density to support the townhomes. I also was going to note the path connection on the southeast side. It would be great to see that. And then I do want to echo some of the comments on the gray or the white. I mean, you come down there now, even with Apex, beautiful buildings, but you catch that sun, there's a lot of white over there. And it's just going to blend right into that. It's going to be a whole valley of white. So I think just being a little careful about how much of it we put out there. But I think it will blend nicely into single-family homes, even with the townhomes there.
Alder Swanson.
Yeah, big fan of the townhomes in there. And density is something that we need to work with. I wonder if So obviously this is a sketch, but I wonder if it wouldn't be helpful with ensuring like more equitable access to the other townhomes to run a sidewalk around the outside along the bottom where you have the buffer right now. I think that could probably help, and especially like make it a little bit easier for some of the like if there are any families in buildings 4 or 5 that have kids, this way the kids don't run across the parking lot to get like around building 6. They can go around the end and come up, and that might be safer. I also like the number of like potential trees that you plotted in for the inside. I'm not sure how feasible it is. I don't know. Again, very new to this, but I don't know how limited you are to be able to put more trees or greenery around the front. But that's something that has always struck me when looking at townhomes is like.
I'm sorry, I'll respond. I don't know if you make sure your microphone's on.
I think you're right. It was on.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah. So something that has always sort of struck me when looking at these townhome blocks is you like the height differences that I think Commissioner Wood mentioned, with the different like step levels, that helps break it up a lot, but you do sort of end up with these flat slabs in the front. And committing to putting more nature up there, I think would make that more interesting and would mitigate some of the issues with it's just gray. So I don't know how limited we are and where we can put things like that as far as the city goes, but it would appeal to me.
Commissioner Taylor, did you have your hand up?
I didn't, but I can.
Okay, yeah.
To keep us unanimous, I'm a big fan of townhomes, so I think it's a great location for it. Also, I'm not familiar with this trail that we're talking about, but I am a big fan of connectivity in general, so I will just echo that as well. Yeah, that's really all for me. I'm a fan of this.
Other feedback from the Planning Commission? Seeing no further hands, did we address everything, Mr. Severson?
Yeah, one of the things that we've kind of been discussing is visitor parking, and do you provide visitor parking on site? Is it expected that they're just going to park behind the garage, out on the street? I don't know if the Plan Commission has any preferences to where those guest parking spaces should be.
I have a quick question on that. How many parking spaces does each unit end up getting inherently? Like a two-car garage, or?
So yeah, my understanding is that there'll be 2 spaces, kind of on the first floor of the building, in the rear. You can kind of see those like in the site plan. There's like the little green fingers sticking off. So there'd be like kind of the driveways into the garages. So there would be 2 covered parking spaces kind of underneath the townhome. And then it looks like in this proposal, you could potentially have some parking behind those, like tandem parking spaces in front of the garage. But they're also showing some guest parking spaces around the site. And then, of course, you could potentially, I don't know, actually the roadway widths out there, if you could theoretically have on-street parking, but for some developments, that's an option.
Okay. Commissioner Wood, then Commissioner Harrison, and then myself.
I guess for parking, if it were me and I was going to a friend's house that lived here, I would assume that I would just park behind their garage. However, with there being this beautiful open space, I can also see residents having birthday parties there. So there should be some guest parking. I don't know if there is on-street parking on either of these roads, but I guess, yeah, have some guest parking, but if it's not, I guess, much of a concern if there is some street parking as well.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Harrison.
I have lived in a townhouse that didn't have very much guest parking, and that became very irritating, or the guest parking was only accessible to very few buildings, kind of similar to this. I think that those like guidelines would have to be very clear. And I do think that if like there's separate like guest parking allotted, I'd want it to be able to be close enough to like maybe some assigned to each unit, especially for like if you have a visitor that is disabled and has to go from like guest parking closest to 8 but had to go all the way down to the very end. I think just finding an accessible way to get that guest parking to each building.
Yeah, I think this is kind of a tricky problem to solve because people can be pretty weird about parking sometimes. And so, yeah, I see the guest parking spots and they do look kind of good. I like where they're located, but the question always is how do you enforce it and how do you stop someone from like parking a boat there and then no one else can use it? That's happened in city lots as well. So, it's one of those things where it can be difficult, but I think it would be handy to have a little bit of guest parking if it makes sense beyond just parking behind someone's garage. And I think the city will probably have on-street parking allowed somewhere nearby, and I think it's not too far to walk, so I think it'll work. So I guess I'm not that concerned, other than good luck with the guest spots. Other comments on guest parking or anything regarding this one from the Planning Commission? All right. There's no further comments. We'll go on to the next item. All right. Moving on to item 11, which is reports and comments from the Planning Department. Mr. Severson.
Hold on. Okay. All right. So we had the first public open house for the comprehensive plan that was held on April 22nd. We had a morning session as well as an afternoon session. Saw a lot of you there, so thanks for coming. Commissioner Hankert was there, helping people with get their comments up on the board. So thank you for that. I think all in all, it was a really good turnout in terms of the number of people that attended. I was expecting a lot of people because of what we got back. The amount of people returning the surveys was really positive, and so I kind of anticipated, but I would say exceeded my expectations. So I think a lot of the community is really in tune with the topics that that the city is struggling with. So a lot of people that you can tell pay attention to what's going on in the community. So educated, engaged people. So that was really positive to see. And then we'll be having our comprehensive plan task force meeting on May 14th. So that'll be kind of discussing what we've learned so far, what we heard at the open house, kind of summarizing all of that data analysis that the team's been working on, and kind of coming up with what we're calling a state of the city, sort of a moment in time, kind of where things are with the city, and that'll help inform kind of where we want to go with the plan, what are our big concerns that we want to tackle, and we'll have some feedback from the public already as to like, okay, what are their concerns, or what are some ideas that they have. So we'll be using all that information to kind of move forward with the next phase. But if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Mr. Severson? All right. Did you have anything to add for 11B, update or development projects, or update on development projects?
I would say the one thing we've had some discussions recently with Avalon Ridge. So that's the development that was approved prior to me being here, but for multiple reasons was kind of took some while to get going. But it's encouraging. Their engineers have been working on the stormwater plans. We're working with the developer on their development agreement, and they're hoping, or they would like to, start the project in July. So that's a lot of progress that we've been seeing on that project recently. After not.
Could you remind us where that is?
Yes, good. Sorry, I hear about it every day, but all of you don't. So Avalon Ridge is actually, well, let me just pull up.
It's the West Madison
It's-
Bible Church.
Yeah. Yep. So just on the east side of M. So multifamily, yeah. 2000, I don't know, 2023, 2022. So yeah, the developer on that project just had a lot going on, and it wasn't really, a reason. It wasn't because they didn't want to move forward. It just it needed to be the right time, and now they have the time to kind of focus on it. So, so they're moving forward. But that project is primarily multifamily. They have some townhome / stacked flats, which are kind of a lower density form of multifamily housing. And then there's a commercial component to it as well.
So you say they're all of a sudden in a hurry. Are they coming back to the plan commission, or is this all just working with staff?
Just working with staff. Yep. So they, they got all of their entitlements, like all their approvals from the plan commission. I guess the only approval that they'll need at a council level would be the development agreement, but that won't necessarily come to the plan commission. So that's being worked on right now.
Any other questions for Mr. Severson? All right. With that, we will move on to item 12, which is adjournment. A motion to adjourn be in order. Commissioner
Motion
Wood.
to adjourn.
Motion by Commissioner Wood. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Powers. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And we are adjourned at 7:57 p.m. Thank you, everyone.